Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Yari. I am the owner and artist here at Lilly Moon Vintage, where I paint furniture to help fund our journey of starting a family through IVF. Today, I have teamed up with my friend Kimberly from Born in a Barn Boutique, and we're doing a really fun collab where we challenge each other to do a piece with the same color. So you definitely have to go over there and check out her channel. Today, I'm actually going to be showing you the headache that I had to deal with this week. This piece, as much as I love the way that it came out, it did give me a headache. So keep on watching if you want to know exactly what went wrong, how I fixed it, and a few tips along the way. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you like this video. So here's a dresser that I'm going to be working on. I really fell in love with the curved center drawers. As you can see, the top has quite a bit of damage. There's some spots that look like the finish almost like melted off or something. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Festool Rotex 90 sander, and I am going to be using it on the aggressive removal option. This is going to help me go down to bare wood, which is what I want to do because I'm planning on staining this top. I love this sander for the power that it has. I was able to sand this entire top down in under 10 minutes. And the other thing that I like about it is that aside from the aggressive removal option, there's an orbital option, and then you can also switch to a delta. So a delta is kind of like a mouse sander, but a little bit smaller, and that'll help you get into tight corners. Now I'm using an 80 grit just because that is the most coarse sandpaper that I have, and I really want to get through that finish. After I am done, I'm going to go back with a 150 and just sand down anything that I missed. And I'm also going to go ahead and sand the trim down the whole border. And for that, I added the interface pad from Festool with 150 grit sandpaper just to go ahead and sand that to bare wood. So now that I am done working on the top, I can go ahead and continue working on the rest of the piece. And I'm going to start with covering up this top because I don't want to damage it with any type of overspray or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple layers of frog tape on this edge, and then I'm going to go in with this brown paper. This is called masking paper. I get it at the hardware store. It's under $4 and it has lasted me such a long time. It's a little thinner than your normal brown craft paper. But like I said, it's really inexpensive and it definitely does the job at protecting your pieces. The top done and protected, I'm going to go ahead and work on the rest of the piece. So I am just removing the hardware. I'm going to come back and clean it with my normal Dixie Belle White Lightning and go ahead and scuff sand the entire piece. The primer that I am using today is the gray Zinsser Bullseye 123 primer. This is a water-based primer and it's really good for adhesion. I'm also going to be using my Zebra square brush because I am going to go ahead and paint the inside borders where the drawers go in. And the reason that I chose gray is because the color paint that I chose for this piece is also gray. I get a lot of questions about painting the insides, whether or not I do it and when and all that. So as you can see here, usually I will go in with a paintbrush and hand paint the edges. I used to spray this, but I realized that I was getting a lot of overspray on the tracks of my drawers, and it really caused a lot of issues down the road when I went to slide in the drawers, where they were very sticky and just not great. So in order to make sure that my drawers slide as smooth as possible, I have decided to just continue on with hand painting. And as usual, I am using my Wagner Flex Seal 5000 to go ahead and do my priming. I did 2 coats of this primer before moving on to paint. So the color Baja Gray from the Silk line is the color that Kimberly and I decided to challenge ourselves with. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint this piece in Baja Gray. Now I did a piece already in this color and I still had half of a jar left. So I decided to put it to the test. I wanted to see if I can paint an entire full dresser with the other half. So I'm just gonna go ahead and filter my paint with this little tea strainer. I get these at the dollar store. And this is just going to go ahead and help prevent my sprayer from clogging. I had already thinned my paint down a little bit with some water, but if you do want more details on how to spray furniture, how much water to use in your paint, and things like that, I'm going to link a video above that you can check out where I explain my whole process. So this is what was left over after doing 2 full coats on this piece. I have a little bit left over. I was able to use this to go ahead and paint the edges of my drawers, and I still had left over after that, so pretty impressive. So here's where things started to get a little complicated for me on this top. I wanted to go ahead and stain it. I used a Minwax color. I can't recall what color it was, but I remember that I thinned it with a little bit of mineral spirits to make it more of a wash, and that color, it was just the wrong color. What it ended up doing is just intensified the red tones that I really didn't want on this piece. So at this point, I was too far in to stop, and I was just forced to go ahead and complete the whole thing and let it dry. While it dried, I just started to work on some hardware, and at the same time just kind of thinking and brainstorming on what I wanted to do next. So with the Rustoleum Clean Metal Primer, I'm just going to go ahead and do 2 light coats of this on all the knobs. This is just going to ensure my spray paint to adhere properly and not scratch off a little later down the road. Well, I hated it, so I ended up having to strip the whole thing down. And I just went ahead and used my Citri strip, let it soak in for about 30 minutes under these plastic bags. It just kind of helps that moisture stay in there. And the next day I came back, and what I decided to do was a wash of chalk paint. So this is a color Burlap from Dixie Belle, and I've used this method in the past for when I create my faux wood finishes. What I'm going to go ahead and do is take the paint with a little bit of water and thin it down. I'm going to wet the surface. This is just going to allow my paint to glide on a little bit smoother. And with my Dixie Belle blue sponge, I'm going to go ahead and just apply the paint right on top, wipe it off, and allow it to dry completely before we come in with some stain. The reason that I'm doing this is to go ahead and tone down all of those red tones that are in this wood. I went ahead and did this step 2 times. I still wanted to keep that wood grain, so that's why I'm doing watered down paint versus doing an entire solid finish. And as you can see, when it dried so much lighter and not red anymore. The color that I chose to use was Golden Oak. This is from the Varathane brand, and it is their wood stain, but this is the one that dries in 1 hour. Now you want to make sure that the wash of chalk paint that you did prior to staining dries completely before moving on to this step, because the paint is water-based and this stain is oil-based. So you want to make sure that it is totally dry before you move on to this step. I only ended up doing 1 coat, but this is something that you definitely could build up in color if you just wait 1 hour in between coats. And this is how it turned out. I'm actually really satisfied with the end result. I love the details on those drawers. And I just love the way the wood grain looks with this color stain. Don't forget to head on over to my friend Kimberly's YouTube channel, Born in a Barn Boutique, where she is also painting with Baja Gray and has some fun tips to share with you over there. Thank you all for being here and watching this video. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm doing a huge giveaway where I am giving away not only a piece of furniture that I will be shipping nationwide free of charge, a Ryobi miter saw, as well as a Wagner sprayer. So you don't want to miss out on that. Go check out the details on my Instagram. Thank you guys again, and I will catch you on my next video.